Everything Coffee, instructional videos brought to you by WholeLatteLove.com.
Hi, I'm Todd with Whole Latte Love. Today we're going to take a look at how you can tear down and clean the boiler on your Gaggia Classic. Well, actually, any Gaggia semi-automatic espresso machine that has an aluminum boiler. So that may include the Evolution, older style espresso, and the Gaggia babies, whether it's the Twin or the Class, or even most of the older style ones. If you have a really old one, it'll be similar but not identical, but this will still tell you how to get in there and get it done. Okay, so without further ado, we'll jump into the Classic and we'll go through that. And first we'll take off the top here. Now every machine you work on is going to be a little bit different. This screw's missing, so we won't bother with that screw. This machine, I found lying around back there, so I don't have any idea what we're getting into when we get into here.
Could get some surprises?
Oh, yes, we could. Okay, so we're looking at here, whatever machine you have, you want to make sure that you know how to put the wires back on after you take them apart. So what I like to do is number them. So I'll get a 1 on that, 2, yeah, nice writing, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then what you can do, take your phone, maybe take a picture, because everybody's got a phone that likes to take pictures. Or you could just make a little diagram. So I'm just going to do that real quick here. F for front, 2 there, and I got there and there. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there'll be 2 wires that come down to the bottom, way down in here. And that can be 7 and 8, or wires that you just won't put a number on. It doesn't matter if these get switched or not. F for front, so that shows where the front of the machine is.
Makes putting things together a whole lot easier.
Oh yeah, otherwise you can call us and go, what are all these wires for? Okay, so I'll try and do this quickly because this could be a long video. Okay, for the Classic, got to push this in here, these little clips. Can you see that, Mark? Mm-hmm. And that'll come forward. Get that out of the way. And hopefully at home you have a long 5mm T-handle. If not, you can loosen these later. But if you do have it, it's nice to loosen these now. Just kind of crack them loose. There's 4 of them on each corner of the boiler.
So that's just the screws holding the boiler in place in the machine?
It holds the top part of the boiler to the brew group.
Oh, okay.
You can do this later, but it's a lot easier because if you do it now, the whole brew group's in place. You don't
it's kind of held in place for you while you're
exactly. You don't need you need 2 hands to hold it. Okay, right. Take off 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on this machine, this is already taken out. Here's a fuse link that's normally underneath this here. It was already taken out. Like I say, I don't know where this machine came from. I just grabbed it out of a pile back there.
It's one of our surprises.
Yeah.
Not a big one.
Take off 5 and 6. And now we'll tip the machine on its back, and we'll loosen these here. Okay, this one will be I believe a 4mm. Now this will take out the whole brew group. First I'm just going to loosen each one a little bit. Now my hardest part is my organization, so what I've done is I got a little spot I can...
the old magnetic tray.
Yeah. Did a video before, I didn't have it, and pieces were all over the place. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tip it back up and finish this one while it's like that so the boiler doesn't actually fall when I'm doing this.
So when that one's out, we're going to be able to pull the boiler out the top?
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Well, actually, still got to loosen a couple more things I didn't get off of here. Okay. 17mm wrench, loosen this. Again, I would recommend doing this before you take all the screws out of the bottom. Okay, that's off. Pull this tube off. See that one?
Which tube is that? Okay.
This comes from this it's an OPV. Regulates your brew pressure and is a safety.
Okay.
And then we've got to get off this black tube here off the top of the three-way solenoid valve. Let's see if I don't have my little needle nose here, so I'll use my fingers. Okay. And take off your steam knob. Now we can start to work this up. Now you still have a couple wires attached to it. And we got a little clip down here I want to get off. Let's see.
Point out that clip.
Actually, never mind. I'll do this an easier way.
Okay.
I should have taken this off here. I'm so excited to get the boiler apart, see what's inside. So take off this nut that holds this tube to the pump.
Okay.
Okay. Now we still have a couple wires attached here, and I gotta grab a tool to do that. There's a small wire tie down here. We'll get this off. See that?
Yep.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, now we got these two wires over here we didn't get off yet. These are from the brew thermostat. These are our 7/8,
Okay.
which we don't, I'll number them in a minute. And then we've got wires from our solenoid valve here, a black and white one.
Those guys are okay.
Okay. Well, we should be able to finagle this out of here. Okay, so there's the boiler out. I'll come back down here and I'll get my 7 and 8 so I don't forget. 8, okay? And these last two wires go to the solenoid valve.
Okay. And when those get put back, it's not going to make a difference which side or what?
Correct, it makes no difference. Okay, now we want to get inside the boiler. Now there could be some water in the boiler, so we're going to
Have a tray handy?
a tray, yep. Okay, back to this. Now again, the reason we're taking this apart could be for a bunch of reasons. It could be because you haven't descaled it in a long time, and if you do descale it after it has not been descaled, you may find big chunks of scale might break off and get caught in the solenoid valve. That will cause reduced water flow through the brew group. You'll notice that your shots are taking longer. You've hit the brew button without the handle in, and you notice water's flowing really slowly. It means this solenoid valve is probably plugged up.
So that's a good reason to keep up on regular descaling to avoid
Correct.
issues like that. Because if you go too long without descaling, you'll more likely to have that problem.
Correct. Okay, so we see the water coming out. See the minerals start to build up inside there?
Yeah, that's the stuff that gets
Exactly.
stuck in things.
It's all stuck in things. So right now the steam valve is closed. Now here's a gasket. We recommend putting a new one of these on, but if you don't have it, a lot of times they will work, but if you're in there,
Might as well.
yeah, it might as well. Exactly. So one way to descale these, leave the steam valve closed. Set this into a dry. Let me empty this out here. Okay, and we'll get some hot water, and you will pour it into here, and get some descaler. Like the Gaggia descaler here will work.
That stuff hurt your hands if you get it on your hands, the descaling.
It hasn't hurt my hands. But,
You're using it like almost every day.
well, I would recommend use rubber gloves. you know.
Okay, just for
Yeah.
safeties.
Get some descaler in there, then put a little hot water in that, and let it set. That should do a pretty good job of cleaning that out. After you're done with that, you can take a little wire brush, not a really heavy-duty wire brush, and you get in there, and you can just kind of clean it off real good. You don't want to score it too much, but just clean it out.
Right.
You know, use, I don't know if I'll call it common sense, but whatever you see just to get it out. So that's good for cleaning out the boiler.
And about how long you sitting in that descaler usually?
20 minutes or so, but you can go longer. It's not going to hurt it.
Okay, going long
Yep.
isn't going to hurt.
Correct. Okay, now that we're in there, I'm going to show you the rest of this. got this copper tube here. Ooh, that comes out. You can soak that in the descaler also to clean that up. Over here we have the three-way solenoid valve. This is probably the key part to all this. You want to get that out.
This is where a lot of those clogs happen.
Correct.
In there.
This is where there's the small ports. What this does when you're brewing, when you turn off the brew button, this solenoid valve becomes de-energized and opens a path from the brew group up through the valve and through a tube off the top into the drip tray. Relieves the water pressure off the coffee when you're done brewing.
Gives you those dry pucks.
Exactly. Okay. So we'll just take this right apart. Okay, so 14 millimeter, we'll take this top nut off. Let me get some stuff out of the way here so I don't make too much of a mess. Put my screws somewhere where they belong. And you might want to keep them separate because there's different length screws on some of these. These all have to be the same, but a lot of times you have different ones. Okay, got a little washer there. Okay, got our O-rings here. Got a little pick. Be careful not to damage these. If you get underneath them and pry them out, you should be good, but be really careful, otherwise you're gonna have to replace them, which is not a terrible thing to have to do. Then we'll open this up. Again, 14 millimeter wrench. And you'll just need a wrench to hold against yourself here. Okay, now, when you take this apart,